Obviously, a good spell and aura to have regardless, but no direct applications thus far in this one. And it was a third pick, so they weren't able to really see much with it. Again, it does sort of counter the push that Faze are going to look to assemble in towards that early mid game with the Coddle and the Nature's Prophet.
Radiant team ban.
All right, we do say the Kunkka here. We saw earlier in the day this was banned out. I want to say by Complexity. But definitely a mid laner that can kind of hold his own in more or less any matchup. Really good with the denies, with the Tidebringer, changing from the cleave to the active. And obviously can do a lot of damage with the Tidebringer in a 1v1 scenario and sort of keep you from being aggressive in lane. Does have certain kill potential as well with the Titan, with the X-Torrent, depending on the counterpart that Faze picks for the mid lane. But this certainly probably would deter Faze from considering Chaos Knight mid, and perhaps even Nature's Prophet mid would be discouraged by this pick as well. Timbersaw ban comes out from Faze. They actually ended up picking it up for CCNC for themselves in Game 2 against Complexity, and did sort of get steamrolled in that one.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
2 melee supports on the Flying Penguin side. So Bane, high move speed. Keeper of the Light, high move speed. Prophet does have his treants to kind of body block you up. So in that sense, Faze should feel pretty good. I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like a Magnus come out from them. We do see the Medusa ban, interestingly enough. Again, sort of very good counter to melee heroes.
5 seconds remaining.
The Eye of the, or the Stone Gaze. Eye of the Storm, I was going to say. That's incorrect. But certainly a nice counter against Lifestealer as well. There still is a Beastmaster in the pool, so talking about push, he synergizes nicely with the Prophet and the CK.
Radiant team pick.
And we do see the Lich. We rarely see him fall this deep into the draft, which is going to mean that we have a one-position Sven, or potentially we have the Titan in the 3. There's a lot of ways they can kind of go with this, but we'll see when the players actually load in with the heroes. In any case, a very interesting final pick. Again, something that synergizes well with the Lifestealer, similar to the Juggernaut who runs into the fight with the Frost Armor on. The Lifestealer will do the same, or the Sven if that ends up being the case, that he's in a core role. But for melee heroes, I look for Faze to take advantage of that in some respect with this final pick. There's no Darkseer in the pool, there's no Phoenix in the pool, there's no Medusa, but certainly still some heroes that can take advantage of that. And definitely going to be looking at the lane matchups as well. This is likely a mid laner. Jubei gonna mull this one over a bit. And up against the Kunkka, not too many heroes that have a very obvious advantage. But I could see something even like a Venomancer. I mean, I know that hero certainly is not at all sort of favored or highly touted recently, but there's just so much damn melee. It's just so appealing at this point, and they do have a pretty good push lineup. They don't have great wave clear. They do have sort of delay, and they do have the Tidebringer, so perhaps I'm underestimating that. But the extra units could help. Again, like I said before, Beastmaster seems nice, but we'll see which way they go. They end up picking the Slark here. So 2 very unorthodox drafts from both sides, and it is going to be the Kunkka mid for Flying Penguins. Mason going to pick up the Slark, very similar in nature to his signature Weaver hero, a very elusive hero that's sort of in and out of the fight. And it is a hero. I talked about sort of Lycan and Weaver versus the Lifestealer matchup in last game. This is also a hero in the Mason Slark that can kite out that open wounds and rage duration, which renders the Lifestealer a lot less sort of impactful if he's not able to stand and right-click, stand and deliver in the duration of those 2 spell casts. So Monkeys is going to pick up his Nature's Prophet, and it is going to be the mid lane CK, similar to what Complexity ran against Faze for CC and C here. Up against the Kunkka, I certainly would favor the Kunkka a bit, but CK, a nice, healthy HP pool, should be able to stand in this lane, and it's not really the scariest kill combination as far as Stan King and Liposa go, or Flea, excuse me. He confused me with the name there. MFG, as he was once known. I can't really say that in its entirety, but Francis Lee and Liposa in the Titan and Lich are certainly not the scariest rotating into mid. So I don't think at this point Faze will be heavily punished for this decision for CC and C to go in towards the mid. A very similar sort of Timbersaw-like build on the CK for this mid lane. And just with the 1 Gauntlet of Strength, you're sitting on 720 HP on this CK. So definitely a hero that can hold his ground in mid. And 2 teams here that took some pretty crushing blows earlier on, just a moment ago. 2-0, they both took an L, and they didn't really have time to hold that L because, yeah, they got to get into a next matchup here. So Faze, as they're currently known, versus Flying Penguins. Gunner going to get his revenge earlier in the day, and EE and Squad looking to rebound from that loss here, as is the Mason CC and C stack. Monkeys doing Nature's Prophet things early on. Let's get some cute little treants here with the spears. Isn't that kind of ironic? I mean, there's trees using spears made out of wood. That's savagery right there. And shields made out of leaves as well. So really just kind of using their friends to fight with. Liposa going to be chased up north here, and they may even lose out on the bounty rune here. Jubei going to pick up, yeah, he'll get 3 for Faze, as Monkeys is able to steal 1 top and will likely pay with his life. First blood, and not quite worth a single bounty rune, but he does have 292 move speed. He's using the body blocks. We talked about 3 melee heroes, and potentially how they're able to take advantage of it. This could be the first way, Monkeys. Fury Fire, okay, that was not the play there. And he should take a spill. He's blocked by his own treants. And we appreciate Monkeys giving us that little bit of enjoyment early on. He has blocked Envy in, though. Oh, man, he's making it a little bit difficult for this dire safe laner. Flea is standing ground, though, in the lane and does get a last hit on the Titan. And should be just fine to give this back over to Envy in a moment. Snaking on the off-lane Sven, so very interesting one. But is a hero that can sort of just like build up a Blink Dagger, maybe even an Ags, and look to contribute in that manner. I mean, Slark is just not a good laner, period. So it's certainly not all that difficult to take advantage of his shortcomings in the early going. Envy could be tanking an Illuminate here, and will. 3 tangos left on the LS, but he is a lifestealer, so as he gains levels, should be able to sustain in this lane. We'll take a look at mid lane, where Ryoya dueling up with CCNC. CCNC 5 denies so far on this CK, and that is going to be a real nice start for him. Meanwhile, Flea, nice, we got it. No T-Tours. First blood is going to be pincered into the trees, much like Monkeys was earlier. Unfortunately, first blood, of course, already drawn before the horn. Regen picked up by Liposa. Shouldn't mean too much, but helps out his lane a little bit. And CCNC doing impressively well in this mid lane. 0 denies for Ryoya so far. yeah. Sort of equally tanky, these two cores, but the CK, the one to press his advantage early on. Mason, contrarily, actually doing, to my surprise, very well in this bottom lane. He does have a Bane who is certainly a good laner and can sort of trade on his own, but still, this is pretty impressive from Mason up against the Lich Sven lane early on. The way he's CSing. And this is what I was talking about in the draft screen, where you've got these heroes like Bane and Caudle who have such great move speed early on. Caudle's sitting on 405 right now. The Bane, not even with any boots, sitting on 309. And sort of able to take advantage of the fact that 4 out of the 5 heroes on Flying Penguin side are melee. Got a range core as well for Monkeys in the side lane, so that certainly helps his cause. Meanwhile, mid lane, wraparound. Oh, the stun, the illuminate. Do they have enough for the kill here? There's no blinding light just yet, so can't push him back and get some right clicks in. And being the strength core that he is, he's a very difficult kill. Monkeys still executing the shenanigans top lane with the Treants, and he's going to block himself in and likely end up taking a spill here in the top lane. Takes a nice big stapler to the backside, and actually a good TP out. Is going to secure his retreat. And of course, being a Nature's Prophet, he can get right back into lane. So always carry your scrolls, kids, when you're playing that NP. And again, this mid lane advantage beginning to widen here. 24 and 14 on CCNC to Ryoya's 8 and 0. He is absolutely dominating this lane. Envy and Snake King, though, are doing nicely on the side lanes. And Monkeys is doing pretty poorly, at least as far as CS goes. So perhaps that's the silver lining thus far for Flying Penguins. But this mid lane is unmitigated disaster so far, as Ryoya gets his salve canceled. Then again, we talked about it in the draft scene a little bit. There's just really no threat from Titan Lich in the mid lane. So CCNC able to play as aggressively as he pleases. Torrent will connect on CCNC, and with no Reality Rift, he can't continue to press. This is an odd little chase happening top lane. And Monkeys will secure the Bounty Rune along with Boris. This Caudle hero has proven to be very effective in lane. Open Wound's going to go out onto Monkeys, and again, the heads-up TP out. This one was all the way back to base, and probably not necessarily could have TP'd to the tower, but of course he does have that teleport ability, so really not going to hurt him all that much. Meanwhile, Mason gets low bottom lane, and the Frost Blast going to take him out. And Flying Penguins with a much needed kill in the bottom lane. A little bit of a team bonding ritual happening over at the shrine. And a nice little bounty of experience for the Lich Sven duo in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet doing Nature's Prophet things. Couple of waves of Treants along with the Siege Creep. This is going to buff up Flea's damage quite a bit, though, all these units around. But still, they do, nearly 80% of this tower. They're going to put it in deny range and go for the kill here. Envy able to deny it. Nicely played by the Lifestealer. And they will, though, still 6 minutes in, losing their tower. Certainly not ideal. And now CCNC in mid lane. Phantasm's up. Frost Armor will be there. He's able to dodge the Torrent, though. CCNC has a salve, but he's tanking the tower. And now, with the Frost Armor and the Torrent, his Phantasm Illusions are taken out. 3 heroes in mid to deal with CCNC. Monkeys, though, he's going to join up with his CK here. They're going to try and take out Liposa. And with the Sprout Vision, they should be able to. They do. Now CCNC, he's in the fog, salving up. Flea going to take a right click, and Ryoya unable to really contribute here while CCNC is salving. Gets a little bit of lifesteal from his crit ability. And really, this build on the Chaos Strike Max from CCNC is what wins him this lane so heavily. Jubei, a little bit out in no man's land. And CCNC and Monkeys will kind of chuckle and let their Bane take a spill. But it is a Phantasm cooldown use, so not entirely inconsequential. And they do, as well, keep up the Ryoya Kunkka. So I I'd say maybe a small win for Flying Penguins. However, they did commit a lot of resources to it, and Faze are more than willing to send a support and monkeys mid, as they've already taken that early objective in the top lane. At this point, Mason starting to fall a little behind on the Slark as the Sven and Lich continue to get levels. Oh, and now he could be aggressed on here, as he did use the Dark Pack. It was just a Frost Blast, though. For now. For now. If you guys remember the Dreadlord from Warcraft 3.
Is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire are scanning.
Envy, sort of the only one that can still stand in this top lane, is just going to continue to farm to allow the rest of the map to be utilized by his squad. However, CCNC stalking with an invisibility rune bottom lane. Not sure that there's quite an opening here, however. He is going to go in onto Flea. And does have the Phantasm if need be. They are going to use the Coddle ult now and TP monkeys in as well. Sinister Gaze is there for just a moment, but can't keep him within the range of the Will-O-Wisp, and that'll force Faze to evacuate this bottom lane. Ryoya spends some time alone mid, but CCNC right back on his tail. And we are going to see an influx of mid-lane Chaos Knight after today, I'm sure, in US East and West pubs. Monkeys and Boris looking to secure this bottom lane after taking out the tier 1 top. But Envy does find some space, and Snake King is doing very well on his Sven as well. So picking up the slack where Ryoya is not having the best time. A couple of CS there stolen by Boris. But his first Will-O-Wisp, unfortunately, is going to be thwarted. And doing a little bit... Oh, I missed a kill mid. Rip. CCNC, in fact, taken out. Bolt used on that one. Snake King rotating in with the God Strength. So, you know, they're aware of the support inbound for Mason bottom lane here, and they immediately make a move towards mid. We see a lot of damage done by the Kunkka combo. A couple of X's needed there. X Torrent, X Boat. And even the Lich contributing on that kill. So a big one for them to find as we take our first look at the net worth here. 10 minutes into the game. And CCNC really the only one doing well on the Faze side of things. Snake King has had a surprisingly smooth early game on the Sven, but Slark, he's certainly not the most intimidating hero in lane. So if there's any hero to get a good start off against, it is the Slark. At least if you can trade with him. If he can just right-click you, the Essence Shift is pretty good, and he has maxed it out here. This is going to hurt his farming a little bit, the max Essence Shift.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So really thought he could trade more in this lane, but up against a Lich, it's always a very difficult proposition. Envy is going to be scouted here by Jubei. He's got a grip available, but if Envy gets the rage off, he's a very tough kill. And he will be just fine. CCNC making a rotation over. To no avail, but nothing really taken elsewhere on the map. Mid lane is completely unoccupied. Not often that you see that. And both tier 2 towers still standing for either side.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Mason going to try and steal some stats here, as Ryoya could be making his way up top. Radiant do not see him yet.
Dire's top tower is under
And
attack.
the Dire, be certain, are well aware that Mason isn't up here alone. He's far too fragile of a hero to be chilling by himself up in top lane. Of course, it could be mind games, but unlikely to be the case with only monkeys showing bottom. And just now, Boris revealing himself mid. And we now see FP occupy their jungle in force. Seeing 2 heroes elsewhere on the map. TP down bottom by Jubei. And Sven would be a big kill for them to find, but he's got God Strength, he's got Vlads, he's quite tanky, even a Bracer. And Envy, after they made that attempt on his life, flags the fact that there's likely vision in that area, so they do get a D ward now. And things will stagnate a bit around this 13-minute mark. Only 6 kills thus far and 2 tower kills. Mid lane tower for the Radiant still quite healthy. The Dire can't say the same. And Envy's done very well to keep up in farm. He does go for the Midas, which we've seen very often as of recent competitive Dota games. But it does feel like Flying Penguins feel a little bit more comfortable overall, if you look at sort of the map control for them. But the Radiant are well aware no one is top, so they need to mount this defense in numbers mid lane. Stormbolt hits a little bit far. Nice Force Staff away by the Coddle, and Boris already able to pick that up. Does attract quite a few Flying Penguins members deep under the tower, but they won't be able to do much about it. Envy looking to clean up the treants from Monkey's bottom with the Rage. And now maybe Monkey's looking to... Well, they do see the Lich drop down a ward, in fact. So that'll be a free D ward for the Radiant side. As Monkey's just going to make his way down to the south to continue farming. Mason has had a lot of time here top for the last little bit. And you can see him catch up quite considerably. But now he's in a lot of trouble as he does get X'd into the boat. Will get a perfectly timed Dark Pact off and be able to TP or pounce into the trees. Can he get the TP though? No. The Shadow Dance expires. A valiant attempt by Mason. Maybe he gets a little closer to the trees before he pounces there and makes it away, but very difficult to say in any case. A nicely timed Dark Pact, but it will not be fruitful as they are successful in killing him off. And just as commentators curse him, praising him for finding some farm, he is going to be off the map for the next little bit. Still, though, ahead of Ryoya, and they do have sort of a 4-core lineup with the Coddle farming as much as he is, at least as far as net worth goes. Coddle's certainly never going to scale into being a core. Oh, Nighttime Vision. CCNC does find Snake King. Monkeys is going to be there as well. Nicely placed Sprout, Shades of Arteezy, but Snake King going to put a few heavy right clicks into Monkeys. And Monkeys, yeah, well, he's going to be taken out here. Bottom lane, Boris going to TP away. Something you can definitely rely on against the combination of Lifestealer Lich. No Phantasm available for CCNC, so I'm not sure they can quite find a kill here bottom lane. And now mid lane, they could be in trouble. But Flying Penguins will think better of it. Mason has gone for a Midas as well. So in the Midas Wars, I believe the Radiant slightly winning. Oh, the Dire. Yeah, sorry, the Radiant. Screwed me up with the Radiant being on top. Radiant 2-1 in the Midas Wars, so we know who wins this game.
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Siege Creep mid lane doing some work. Oh, top lane, they find him once again. Nice Nightmare to save him from the Earth Splitter from Mason, but he ends up dropping. And now trying to save his comrade, Jubei will take a spill in the off lane as well. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Envy going in onto Monkeys. Monkeys shouldn't be killable here as he does have a TP out. And a wise TP as well from Ryoya. I've been surprised that thus far we haven't seen Monkeys make an attempt at backdooring this tower. But immediately they TP in towards mid, knowing that that's vulnerable with 3 heroes showing top. Monkeys, though, jumps forward on top. Snake King in trouble. Only a 1-second stun, however, and the Stormbolt is there. They do get the Will-O-Wisp off, though. It's keeping CCNC alive, but the Chain Frost bouncing nicely. It finally does make a trip over to the creeps, so CCNC, with 1 second left on the Reality Rift, can continue to press forward. Still, though, Grip is there. Stomp will get off, and nice pullback down south. Ryoya's joined the fray, though, and now 2 men. Stormbolt coming out from Snake King, but Mason still in fighting shape. Snake King so tanky, though, finally ends up going down, and the X from Ryoya is unable to find the kill onto the Mason Slark. Nice Chaos Bolt from CCNC. Rioya will turn to find the kill on the Bane, however, and Eternal Envy's joined the fray, and even the once limping away Flea is nearby. Sprout is going to be a little bit too late from Monkeys, and he's in trouble as he gets X'd up. 4 levels in the X for Rioya and the Sinister Gaze, as they will get into a staring contest before Monkeys Forever passes out from intimidation. And a big team fight win for Flying Penguins in the top lane. Recall that the Titan never died. He just kind of walked around and hung around in the area and then rejoined the fray. Even a Midas used by 2 Midas is used and 0 Midas is used on the Flying Penguin side. So somehow they still won the fight without using any Midases. Rioya, though, reaping the benefits of the Max X build, as we generally do see the cores go for after the Tidebringer, of course, but you know, he could have gone for the little more damage, a little bit more farming oriented build with the Torrent, but didn't have the greatest start, and 4 levels in the X, able to net them a couple of extra kills on the back lines, on the back end or tail end of that fight. And really there's nothing now for Faze to be taking across the map. So Flying Penguins occupying this entire sort of chunk of real estate and feeling good about their stature in the game. Sinister Gaze comes out onto Mason. It's not long enough, though. That's level 2. Snaking does have his Blink, working on an Assault Cuirass at this point. Envy has a Radiance here. And Rioya has clawed his way back into this one as well, looking at a Halberd, and does have the Shadow Blade. So Flying Penguins in a fantastic position in this one. We've yet to sort of feel the impact of Mason or Monkeys Forever. And despite having them having all that extra farm on the Coddle, it's really not been put to any sort of use. Snaking starting to chip away at the tower in the bottom lane for the Radiant. CCNC yet to really find some item progression, but does have full armlet or so. Yeah, full armlet. So that should be flying out at some point. Meanwhile, bottom lane, boat flies out, but Boris is able to force away and dodge the Torrent as well. Nicely played by the Phase 4 position player. But his absence from this bottom lane means that this push will commence. And X down to the bottom lane. Rioya just jumps up to the top lane, Tidebringers it out, and joins his team. And map control is very much in the favor. Oh, God Strength pop, jump forward, Stormbolt connects only onto 1, and they will be able to get the Sprout off onto the Sven. Snaking, though, will not be denied here as he gets the Quelling Blade off, and the Nightmare, it's a little bit late on the transfer. Oh, Snaking, he's unable to find the Bane in the tree line. Meanwhile, over on the east side, Monkey's trying to be aggressed on. Eternal Envy will be forced to back away as he's used his rage here. Torrent does connect onto Monkeys. A nice Will-O-Wisp. CCNC looks to engage here. They know that Snaking is top lane, and this is their opportunity to fight. Envy has used his rage, but he will survive for the time being. The second rage comes up. Now he gets the open wounds off of, and the Stormbolt is there. Snaking joins the fray. CCNC is forced up to the high ground by Boris, who will pay for his loyalty as he tries to save CCNC, but Envy with the Radiance Burn and a right click takes him out, and it is 4-0 in the mid lane for Flying Penguins, who are in a very commanding position in this game. This time, the team that uses 2 Midases takes it, and Rioya doing the chunk of the bulk of the damage in that engagement. Now Snaking, even with the God Strength available, will start to take these outer tier towers out. Liposa feeling good, sounding the drums for his squad. Mason has had some time to his lonesome in the last little bit.
Clear sailing now.
and looking to nip at the heels of the Kunkka as far as net worth goes, but Flying Penguins certainly not scared just yet. Pretty close to that halberd as well, 400 gold. Away is Ryoya, so he'll be very close after this Roche kill. And nobody to contest this. In sight for the Radiant side. Meanwhile, mid lane, Dire do have vision here of Boris. And Ryoya will find him, and this will be an easy kill. Sinister Gaze even pre-casted as well by Liposa. Lovely play from the Lich to ensure he cannot force away. Meanwhile, that Roshan taken out. And as you can see, Ryoya has the gold for that halberd. And this is sort of the area of the map that we find ourselves relegated to for Faze fans. As Jubei even accompanying his Slark up in the top side of the map. X bottom lane will find Monkeys Forever. It's going to be torrented up. Frost Armor will be there as well. Sinister Gaze. And this duo of heroes, Liposa and Ryoya, having a good time in the last minute or so. Radiant do have vision of snaking. It's a tough kill to find, though. They need to grip him before he gets the Warcry off. Nightmare will be there. And yeah, they are near the shrine, so we'll think better of it. Snaking is thinking aggressive, though. As Dark Pact was just used, he jumps forward looking for the Bane. Gets the Stormbolt off. God Strength is there. 3 right clicks. Easy pickings for the Sven. And he's willing to use that God Strength because they do have the Aegis here. So maybe they're able to take out a tower for it. But they've kind of got all 3 lanes shoving here. Bottom lane, mid lane, top. All moving in towards that Radiant side. God Strength down, though, for FP. Would have liked to have obtained the Slark kill there, but they get a kill nonetheless. And Snaking continuing his reign up at the top of the net worth chart alongside Envy. Jubei gets a little bit of vision down, but it looks like this isn't going to last too long. Well, Liposa puts the sentry down in the lane, in fact, and this is all being scouted by the Radiant. Jump forward from Boris. Nice ultimate. Mason jumps in onto the Elder Titan. A Force Staff away, though, is going to keep him safe, and Liposa forces away as well. On the south side, Snaking trying to work on to Boris, and he'll get the kill. Mason sign out in no man's land. Frost Armor comes out onto CCNC. He phantasms and takes one out. That's going to be the Lich, but he gets the Chain Frost off in due time. And now Mason in trouble as well. Brought back into the boat. Tidebringer finishes him. Wicked 6 streak for Ryoya. Echo Stomp will not catch Monkeys, but there's still a large amount of health on this Flying Penguin side. Snaking in a jump forward, getting Nightmared up. Torrent will not connect, but they will be able to eat into this tier 3 with 3 heroes on the sidelines. CCNC has a buyback, but he does not have a Phantasm. Ryoya will X up the Titan and send him back to base. Couple of Force Staffs picked up here by both the Lich and the Titan. So really good pickup versus the Will-O-Wisp from the Coddle. Nice Wrath of Nature going to come through and bring Envy down low, but it is a lane of racks going their way here 26 minutes into this one. As Envy will infest for some health. Smoke up from most of the FP lineup. Liposa has the haste and will give his side a bit of vision. Jubei gonna show in, and Snaking immediately jumps up to the high ground with the Astral Spirit and the Torrent to cover his back. They'll go in for their second lane of racks now. They know Phantasm is down, so this is the big window here for Flying Penguins, excuse me. And no jump forward, 2-man Stormbolt. Torrent to follow, connects onto one. Boat is there. Monkeys will get hit by it. And the Stomp was on the outside as well. So unable to retreat is the Nature's Prophet. He does have a buyback available, but there's a tier 2 standing top. So first Penguins can't really get much more than this second lane of racks. I say that as if they didn't get much. 2 lanes of racks down, 27.5 minutes in. Envy more than happy to TP top alongside Snaking and look to push this wave out as that final target, that off lane for the Radiant, will now be the apple of the eye of Flying Penguins. 25k net worth lead. It says 24 at the moment, but it is monstrously large at this point, and a 20k experience lead for the Dire side. And perhaps a little bit of a desperation play around the cliff here from Faze. Undetected by this ward smoke combo. They will take a look at Envy. They'll find the easy target in the Lich and take him out quickly. Nightmare up Envy and look to set up on him. They do have the grip. Illuminate will be charged up. Force away. Flea gonna survive for now. The Will-O-Wisp keeping Envy in place, and they will kill him off. Flea able to TP out, and Ryoya, well, Monkeys sprouts him to keep him towards the Radiant lineup, and Monkeys will be able to duck into the trees as well. Shrine preemptively popped by Snaking. Sentry from the Radiant side will allow the Pounce to latch. Force staff away by the Coddle, trying to keep the Bane up, but is unsuccessful in doing so. Ryoya very tanky, but hasn't deployed the boat just yet, but he gets the Tidebringer and kills off Mason. Now the Earth Splitter coming through. CCNC in trouble as well. Blinding Light keeps the CK up for a moment, but he ends up falling. X is just shy of catching another, and even with losing Envy and having to TP out the Elder Titan early on, Flying Penguins still salvage that team fight, taking out both the Slark and the CK. And if that isn't indicative of this game being nearly over, I don't know what is. Assault Cuirass S and Y, another item to be coming out soon as well. It's the MKB at the moment for Snaking.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Against that Blinding Light could certainly help. Oh, X. Okay, never mind. Such a nice little convenience to have on your squad with the Kunkka. Envy's got a full heart, armlet, and Deso now, and he will be the siege engine for his squad. He's going to rage off that Blinding Light, start to beat into the tier 3. And he'll do half of its health as he jumps into a Radiant creep. Jumps right back out, feeling not all that threatened. Chaos Bolt going to come out, but it won't bait in the FP lineup. Envy fighting through backdoor protection, takes out the tier 3. Will rage up and start to beat into the melee racks as well. Sprout will be there for the moment. Frost Armor onto Envy, but Phantasm going to be popped. Will-O-Wisp connects onto a few. Envy going to be Force Staff back, though, and these Force Staffs from Flying Penguins have just completely, there's 2 here, by the way, nullified these Will-O-Wisp. Grip onto Envy, but they're able to cancel with a big Torrent Boat combo. And GG is going to be called as the towel thrown in and a disconnect from Boris. When you drop 2 Will-O-Wisps with a refresher and there's 2 Force Staffs on the other side getting everyone out completely, yeah, that kind of warrants a disconnect. The Rage Quit coming out from Faze as they look, to be honest, coming into this game, the less shaky of the 2 teams here. But despite CCNC having a fantastic mid lane versus Ryoya, they just get crushed in the mid lane, in the mid game, excuse me. Snaking having a fantastic time bottom. Envy doing his best as well to keep the top tier 2 up. Monkeys Forever just never really got, you know, that push started that he would have liked to after taking out that 6-minute tier 1 top. And Ryoya was able to come back into the game by contributing to these kills. I mean, Ryoya ends up 9-0-17, which looks like a fantastic KDA coming out of that mid lane and contributing into 26 of the 30 Flying Penguins kills. So very well played by him to come back, and Flying Penguins putting it all together in this game one, guys. They're going to take it 1-0 over Faze. Loser goes home. Winner is going to move on to the second round of the lower bracket in this 4-team double elimination bracket for the spot in the SL ImbaTV, StarLadder ImbaTV minor, coming up on March 7th.